Hello everyone, GermanJagernaut here again, and I know that I said that Coliseum was going to be my last map idea for a while due to Origins, but I've been commissioned, maybe? But this map idea may help explain a few things better about the zombie storyline we have just wrapped up, because it is a very confusing storyline to some people, me included, but after a while you can comprehend it, even though a lot of people say that Treyarch ruined it, which they sort of did. So hopefully this map will do just that, and thus I call it Inject. Now, this map is huge, as in bigger than Origins and Transit and Moon combined. Now, I bet you're wondering how that's going to work, because as we all know, the reason Transit was shit was because of the fog and the lava, which was there in the first place because the consoles couldn't handle the size of the map. But I've thought of that already, so don't worry. This map also has the easiest, yet also the hardest story Easter egg we've ever seen before, which is nice. Anyway, onto the map. So you're playing as Dempsey and no, sorry, Cornelius and Co. I mean, and you start off in a room that's surprisingly similar to the starting room on Kino, actually, in structure. You've got two staircases to the sides leading up to the sort of second floor balcony almost, but the similarities stop there. Stairs lead up higher. The entire room is taller, and the stairs themselves are metal, sort of like those industrial stairs on wheels that you could just roll in when you're working on something. Because this entire building was pretty rushed. Cheap concrete and plaster walls, metal floors and stairs everywhere. Quick Revive is on the top section instead of a bar to the side, and the opposite side of the room, where normally two windows are, and then there's that thing that says "Beware the Six," is solid rock, caved in rubble of these huge red boulders. And if you're gonna say Mars, just stop watching the video, please. Okay. Of course, there's a spawn here with zombies similar to those in the dark rooms and labyrinth I mentioned previously. Some other wall spawns, maybe a floor spawn, and ceiling spawns too, especially ceiling spawns actually. And the difference is there are four doors, one under each staircase and one above each staircase, each of them costing 750 points. The rest of the map is random. I mean, aesthetically, it would all be similar with concrete and plaster and rocks, scattered bloodstains, dimming ominous lights, because the power's already on, and lots of scientific and civilian things like computers and ration crates. But the layout of such would be random. It probably don't make sense right now, so let me draw it out for you.
I really hope that works because I literally just taped my phone to an office lamp to do this. So hopefully this pen and paper thing will work. Sorry if it's a little slanted because it's taped to a freaking office lamp. So let's start drawing. With the exception of the starting room, the final room, three areas that'll go into later, everything in the map is random. Of course, you can't load up the entire map like this, and I'm envisioning a freaking huge map, but hear me out. How they would do this, if the map were to be made, is with chunks. Sort of like Minecraft in a way. So every area is, for simplicity's sake, a cube. Basically, let's just draw that. So just for your understanding of... Oh, hold on. Yeah, this is actually going pretty good. No, it's not. So... in every cube, every chunk, as I'm going to call it, there could be anywhere from 1 to 8 areas in the chunk. So let's just draw 8 right now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8's back there that you can't see. Alright, all of these areas are pre-coded into the game, but how and when they're put into the map changes every game. So let's see how this would work out. We got 8 rooms, 8 sections, 8 rooms. You go in through the starting room, depending on which door you opened. You go into a room because the starting room has a door up here, door up here, door up here, door down there. So you can go into either one, and that leads into either of these rooms. It could be a laboratory or a schoolroom or an apartment or a morgue, but that room in one area of the chunk is that area of the chunk that was loaded. All 8 of these are loaded at the same time. It's one big chunk. There may be a staircase from this one that leads down to the one below it, or a door in here that leads from this one to that one. This probably should be a door right here that leads from this one to that one. But rarely rooms might be a dead end, so like there could be like nothing here that leads into that, so you'd have to go back and pick another door. But once you enter this chunk, which is what I'm getting at, the chunk of the map, the next chunk after the next loads up. So this is chunk number 3, we're going to call it if the starting room is there. The starting room is just here. This is chunk 2. I excuse the lovely happy children that are just playing outside. So this is going to be chunk 3. And so once you load up this one, chunk 4 is going to load up right here. So that one gets loaded. So the map is always 2 chunks ahead of you. So it will always be preloaded by the time that you get there. So, but as soon as you exit the starting room, you leave into one of these doors, an enormous rock or a huge chunk of plexiglass just falls on top of the room, the chunk, completely destroying it, so you can't go back. So after that, every time you go 2 chunks ahead, so you go there, then this one will get destroyed. So it doesn't waste processing power on rooms. So you're always heading forward into the map, and if you don't, you get trapped. And it's not always 8 areas like this. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, 4. Hold on real quick. Sometimes it's 4 longer areas, like 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Sometimes it could be 2 like huge areas on top of each other. Sometimes it could just be 1 big space, you know? And the perks and the wall buys are random too, so like, let's say that a gun would be right here. I know I'm explaining this kind of weird, but, you know, this is the first time I'm doing this. So then like a perk might be right there. Now what perks spawn here are random, but certain perks will be weighted more. So potentially, you could walk right out of the starting room and see Jug right here. Or you could go 15 chunks in a row and not see Jug. You could find freaking, I don't know, MP40, let's say, or on the wall right here. Or you could go 15 chunks and wait before you see the MP40 for the first time, or the box for the first time for that matter. But the box will move if it gets destroyed. So, this just keeps you guessing. This is the point of this sort of style of map, to keep you guessing as to what happens next, as to what rooms you'll get into, if what, like, I don't know, morgue or schoolroom or whatever comes next. Of course, you'll figure out which of these rooms, like if you like walk in and you see the morgue, then you might say, oh, hey, there's gonna be a wall buy over there. There's gonna be a perk over here. There's a spawn for part of the buildable, which I'll get into in a second, that can spawn right here. But a patch from Treyarch could change all that. So now that part can't spawn in the morgue anymore, but it can spawn in the schoolhouse right here. So it'll keep evolving. The map can keep changing because this is entirely random. No 2 games are going to be the same, and that's interesting to me. What interests me is not having the same experience every single time. And Mob of the Dead is a great map. I love it, but I find myself getting caught into a routine of a strategy, and I don't really want that. I set challenges for myself. People set challenges for themselves, but this will always keep you guessing. Now, buildables, which I also wanted to do. Anything else I want to talk about before buildables? Oh yeah, precautions, because freaking public games are stupid. So if people want to stay behind, then they'll get trapped. They won't die, but they'll be trapped there and they're pretty much screwed. So the point of the map is to move forward, basically. That's what I want to say. And of course, things won't be weird, so you won't be like blocked off in patches. There'll always be a way forward. I want that to be like coded in if this gets made. I want there to always be a way forward. But whether there's like 3 dead ends, that's fine, as long as there's one way forward, you know? So buildables, onto that. Pieces would be thrown around the map in the predictable places, you know, like pieces in places like I've said before. You know, the zombie shield, of course, maybe like a melee upgrade of some sort. We don't have a buildable melee upgrade. I think that'd be really cool. Maybe like a hacker-esque thing for Moon that lets you change power-ups, because I really like that. Maybe a piece of equipment that lets you carry more than 4 perks, but you have to buy them at over double their price. Who knows? There's still quite a bit of unexplored territory with these mechanics with buildables and stuff, and Transit really screwed that over. But stuff like Mob of the Dead perfected it, you know.
So, back to the story. Right off the bat, you hear this demonic voice that says,
Today is the 2nd of July, year 2459, and we all get to see 4 lucky contestants play. Win or die, see you on the other side.
So the entire building trembles, lights flicker a little, and as the computer screens, you see a face flash for a brief moment. You may recognize him from a certain forum post that I rather like. So the Easter egg is just reach the end. Just keep running down the map, down the chunks, down the areas until you reach the final room. Which sounds simple enough, but it's hard for two reasons. First off, it's a freaking huge map, as I said earlier. Second is a thing called Sheol, I think it's pronounced. There's a great forum idea thread that I have to give credit for this idea that I hope I will remember the link in the description, made by House. That is this idea of Sheol, and it's multiple levels leading to Hell on Earth, which is important. Basically, when the game starts, you're at Sheol 1. Standard zombies game. However, progressing far enough into the map will lead you to a sort of open area, 2 chunks long. And here is where you see where you actually are. You look up and see 2 huge cliff sidings to either side of you, and above that, an enormous glass dome. A little patchwork, but enormous nonetheless, stretching far forwards and backwards with some noticeable horde-sized holes. You're in the Grand Canyon, turned into a means of survival, of preparation almost, that, of course, failed. But this is not the world you know. This is not the world you've played zombies in before. It's Earth, of course, but it's not the same as we've seen so far. So Pack-a-Punch and Encrypt are here too, but there is a way to Pack-a-Punch a gun without it that I've already mentioned. So this, of course, destroys the chunk behind you, so all there's left to go is forward. At this point, the dialogue gets a bit more informative, and the Easter egg really starts. So Dempsey starts recalling a dream he had of a ghost, which is important. I'm not talking about the Ghost and Buried, which is stupid. I'm talking about a ghost that he doesn't believe in, but he knows it exists. That kind of ghost. So the others start questioning Richtofen a little, not like in the other maps, but as in questioning whether his plan will work or not. He's the reason we're here, partially. The mastermind behind this particular plan. And then also now you start hearing talk of Orgones and Vril, which, if you haven't heard about that already, let me explain.
Alright, so this guy, whose name I can't even begin to remember, theorized that the world was filled with Orgone, however you want to say it. I'm going to say Orgone energy. Alright? Every living thing, the air around you, even the dead to some degree, has Orgone energy. Living things especially. We've seen Orgone 3 times in zombies, if I recall. That would be Moon, I really want to say. Nuketown, definitely. Definitely Nuketown. And then I'd like to say Origins. Those are the 3 maps. So Nuketown is a bit less apparent, but it is blatantly obvious once you know where to look for it. And I don't want to say confirmed. But just, yeah, if I had to pick between these 3, I'd put my money on Nuketown. So, now, Moon and Origins have a thing in common. It's that, you know, there's the pyramid, the Obsidian Pyramid, the MPD on Moon, that people like to call it. And then when you kill zombies near that during the Easter egg, I don't know, zombie souls just come out and go into the machine. And that's just like those boxes to get the Thunder Fists and Origins that open up and collect the I don't know, zombie souls that people say. When you kill zombies near them, you see their souls fill them up. Now these souls may not be souls. I wouldn't be surprised if they were Orgone. Now I'm not saying that souls themselves are actually Orgones, because that would have unwanted religious connotation in the game and may not be true, because I could see a distinct difference. Because your soul is you, pretty much. You get rid of your body, your pure consciousness, whatever's left, your pure consciousness, we're going to call your soul. This energy that you can't really feel or sense that flows through you and is if you want to call it, eternal part of you, this thing, but it's not you yourself, is your Orgone energy. Your wavelength even, and I know this may have some religious connotations of some sort, but let's just leave all that at the door and run with the idea of Orgone for now. So now when Vril comes in, and if you haven't even heard of the Vril yet, then you are really not into the zombie storyline, or possibly have not played Call of the Dead. Where the Vril comes in is that there was this book written in the 1800s, once again, can't remember off the top of my head, where that told the story of this ancient master race of people that were called the Vrilia. Vrilia? I've only seen it in running. So they knew how to manipulate this energy called Vril to do things from healing all the way to destroying entire cities in one fell swoop. Sorry for my handwriting, by the way. So this is very powerful stuff, healing and destroying cities. So I believe Skuld has a great throne on this as well, but if you ask me, Vril, the self-described all-permeating fluid, as the author calls it, this great source of energy sounds a lot like Orgons. Now, not as in the same thing as Orgon, but very similar. They're both these sort of omnipresent energy sources that have been apparent in zombies, let's say. However, they do sort of contrast each other, because Orgon is a life force, and it's an innate energy, whereas Vril can cause physical change, and it's a more active energy. And this is basically all you need to know about Vril and Orgon right now.
Once you do move forward, you've entered Shale 2. This is where things start to get hard. The zombies' stats are one round ahead of what they were before. They move at you faster, and everything looks a lot more macabre, destroyed, bloody, the works. There are lots more cracks in the walls, and occasional loud noises if something's about to give, a few more unexpected spawners. The furniture is more overturned and thrown around the rooms, if you can picture that. You go through a bunch more chunks at this difficulty, and then you reach another clearing, which is with the pack punch and the work, same as the first one. If you want to go on, you better be serious, because that is Sheol 3, or Hell on Earth, more aptly named. Everything looks incredibly gloomy and hellish. The rooms are all but destroyed. You can't stop hearing howls and screams. You can't even tell the difference between the red rock and the crimson bloodstains anymore. The zombies really sprint at you. They jump straight through the barricades. Every round increase counts as another 5. Lights flicker on and off, or even turn completely off for a few seconds. You see more images of 626 until finally, if you're good enough to handle that, you reach the end. The final room. Zombies stop spawning. It's very dark. You can hardly see anything, unless you're Dempsey. As Dempsey, at the end of the room, you see a window. Through that window is a familiar sight for those of you that enjoy zombies maps ideas. So through the window is completely dark, except for a spotlight on a lone man with his back towards you, wearing a smoker's jacket. He comes forward once you notice him closer to the window and points towards a corner of the room. In that corner of the room is a sort of light switch. None of the other characters can see this, so Dempsey has to go over there and turn the light switch on. And that reveals the mind sabers built into the wall. And this is their plan, to stop Maxis.
Now, a lot of you may be wondering what a mind saber is. More explaining for me to do. If you've ever played all the way through Portal 2, then this is going to be quite a bit easier to understand. We've actually seen a mind saber in zombies before, very recently, in fact, I believe I want to say. But what these mind sabers actually do is called a mind transfer. Okay? So the reason this exists, mind saber, mind transfer, is because it's the solution to the problem. And that problem is, how do you safely get across the rift? And the answer is, of course, a mind transfer. How it works is, it saves your mind to a machine. Pretty simple. It takes your consciousness, your personality, your thoughts and traits, your soul even, and it almost basically removes it from your body and puts it into a machine. This, for all intents and purposes, makes you immortal. Your consciousness now cannot die because your body dies alone without your consciousness. And now that your consciousness is free from the relatively weak body, you can travel across the rifts, across time, across this time vortex that the storyline has into another body. But there's a catch or two. First off, you can't just travel into any old body. You have to transfer into a body that matches your biological signature. Basically, pretty much your parallel self in that alternate timeline, really. So it has to match up with that. You can't, like, go into a different person, pretty much. And secondly, and most importantly, for this story, this is the important part, is that once you transfer, you lose your memories. You become that person who you were before gets erased, unless you've been exposed to the future. But that's not important right now. The important thing is Richtofen knew about these, and of course brought the characters here to use the Mind Savers. So we got sorry. Hold on a second. The fucking shit. Sorry, I just don't want to do another take of this. So just ignore that. It has nothing to do with anything. So, anyway, the reason to do so is to enter the loop. They're trying to stop Maxis, or at least stay one step ahead of him. But little do they know, Maxis is 10 steps ahead of him. So they get into the machines, their minds are saved, and after that is Origins. Which would explain quite a bit. Frickin' airplanes. Whatever, let's just... So, that's my quick sort of map idea. So I hope you all enjoyed despite all the background noise, and if so, be sure to leave a like on the video. Check out the forum threads that I mentioned that helped me craft this idea, and subscribe, because I told you to. So thank you all for watching to the end, and have a nice life.